Can you hear me, Church?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
There is a sixth dimension beyond that which is known to man. A multiverse as vast as eternity, as timeless as the Infinity Gems. It is the middle ground between the big two and the indie publishers, between sci-fi and mysticism, and it lies between the pages of the reader's imagination. At the summit of entertainment, the dimension of comics, where a humble service is held. We call this service the Gospel of Comics.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Gospel of Comics. I should say hello, gentlemen. I don't know what's going on, but nobody's here with us yet.
What?
Yeah.
Fucking tag myself. Sometimes I like to add the lucky juju to it by adding the at everyone myself as well.
You should. I don't know. You should shame them into it. That's definitely something you should do. Shame, shame. Anyway,
nice little reference to Game of Thrones there.
I
usually do a little bit of the Bruce Buffer action, but on you go, fire on.
Well, with us today is I done fucked it up. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Gospel of Comics. I am your host, The Church of Failure, and with me, as always, is my trusty co-host, Ayrton McCartney. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good.
I've rattled it off so many times. If I fuck it up in the middle of it, I can't come back. I can't come back to it. I have to do the whole fucking thing over again.
Or if you think about it too hard.
Well, I mean, if I think about anything too hard, I fuck it up. Hail, Chad. Thank you for joining us and not leaving us stranded on deserted island. Anyway,
Chad.
Chad actually said in the Discord earlier. I was on Dillard's stream last night. He humbly requested my presence to tell ghost stories. Now I didn't understand.
You mean
that
you kicked the door in?
No, he sent me the link.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he was like, "We're telling ghost stories. Can you come?" And I was like, "I don't know. It's Friday, wife." And he was just like, "Don't be a pussy." So I showed up, and he was like, "We're telling ghost stories." I was like, "Man, I got a couple that I remember. I have to brush up on them a little bit." And I came in, and everyone was talking about personal experiences with ghosts, and I'm like, I don't believe in any of that shit.
What?
Like, I don't believe in any of
I
that shit.
mean,
I just have like old school campfire ghost stories. What am I supposed? This
yeah,
is not.
man. Yeah, man. All the weird esoteric stuff I'm aware of is all old as fuck and all, like chances are it doesn't even exist, but the legends are there and have been there for hundreds of years. That's all I've got, We haven't
Yeah.
got any mad in the woods story over here.
No,
But
I.
I wasn't expecting it to be like a fucking spiritualist session. Like, yes, I've spoken with people who are about to cross over the other side. Like, whoa, okay, maybe I'm not into this, but okay, I'll listen in, see what's going on.
Yeah.
Man, if I would have not fallen asleep at like 9:30 last night, I would have jumped in. I got some stories.
Oh yeah.
Fair
Oh yeah.
enough,
You
fair
do.
enough.
You do have some. You do have some close encounters of the supernatural kind.
Yeah,
Hmm,
yeah, a few of them.
I forgot you were a
fair
weirdo.
enough, fair enough.
But
Yep.
no, I came in. I had a couple of stories. I think I told the dance with the devil, an old story from East Texas. Um, took place 70 years ago, kind of thing. I had
Nice.
another about the graveyard love, but we didn't get to that one because I had to get off. But anyway, how are you doing today, Novel Bro? Obviously, with us in the virtual studio today, Novel Bro. Let me pull the stream start soon thing down. How you
No,
doing
I'm
today,
doing
buddy?
good, lad. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I've been actually looking forward to this episode in particular, not because it's the final episode, but because there is some pretty good stuff to cover in this episode.
Oh yeah. This is the
Oh,
this is the
apart
bit
from the one
where
thing that I pointed out of the main thing that I pointed out that I didn't like, but we'll get to that. We'll get to
Well,
that.
yeah,
just
There's
we'll get there.
plenty to cover in this episode.
just little sneak peek, little look behind the curtain. Uh, there is more 1602 that we could cover.
Of course, because you were talking about spin-offs and such.
There's
Yeah, there's quite a few
Fantastic
spin-offs.
Four. There's a Spider-Man spinoff. I forget what the other one is. There's a Fantastic Four, a
It's like
Spider-Man.
a sequel.
Yeah, the sequel.
It's a sequel to this. It's like oh, what is it? It's
Just
like
yeah.
shit. I'll look it up. Hold on.
But anyway, New World.
Jamie, Google, pull that shit up.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, New World.
New World or whatever. But yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, we're covering part 7 and part 8, which is the end of the main 1602 story and the end of Neil Gaiman's involvement with the series as the main writer. Now, I don't know if he had like an outline for these characters that were used later on, but he is not credited with the writing credit on future installments of 1602. So, and this is kind of a weird spot for me to be in. I love comic books, and I love the fact that the characters allow for multiple stories to be told with the same group of characters by multiple writers and multiple creators. You get different visions and stuff like that. But when it comes to something like this, is it really a sequel when the original writer and artist are off the book, or is it just like we said earlier, a spinoff? Like, do you guys would you consider it a sequel or a continuation, or should it just be like a redressing?
At this point, I have no clue, but I'm keen to find out.
Well, I just mean in general. Like,
It's
imagine if you read Tolkien, The Fellowship and the Two Towers, and then you got to the Return of the King, and it was just like by J.K. Rowling.
Right, of course.
I mean, the story technically
yeah.
continued, or even could go so far as to talk about DC movies. You've got Zack Snyder's, vision for the DC universe, and then Joss Whedon comes in and finishes Justice League, and it doesn't feel like it falls in line. Like, that's kind of, I mean, this is a side topic, but to me, it's really weird, and I have a hard time, like, coming to grips with the idea that, you know, you're continuing, quote unquote, a niche story like this without the original writer.
Right. Well, depends on what the main writer's contributions have been. You know, because for what we've seen Neil Gaiman do, you know, dropping in, you know, how many issues in with the little recap to make sure everybody's up to speed on who is who. What was that, 4 issues, 5 issues in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the 4th. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, if there's less than that, it can only be a little step up, you know. I mean, how many issues does each quote unquote spin-off retain on average?
Between 4 and 6.
That's not bad, because obviously it's not like the main quest. It's obviously extra, you know, quote unquote DLC. So yes, 6 issues isn't bad, especially if you add them all up together. You know, you got yourself a game of the year edition. So if we've got plenty of material to work through, won't matter if there's the end of the Spider-Man continuation, because there'll be another continuation that'll help support it and maybe give it a little bit more, you know, a little bit more meat to it. You know.
Right.
So
I
yeah,
would.
I'm 100% okay with it if it's 4 to 6 issues on
Yeah,
average.
I'm looking at it from like kind of the context of Star Wars. Like the sequel trilogy sucks ass, but the spin-off of The Mandalorian and like apparently the like cartoon, like the Clone Wars show or whatever, I haven't really watched that, but
Oh, the Clone
apparently
Wars is
those are really
fantastic.
good. So I really say it's just up to how good the other writers that came after are, because clearly the Disney sequels are terrible, and they're talking about actually, you know, erasing them from the canon, which is hilarious to me.
We talked about that on this show, although that episode is lost to history because of nudity.
Right.
I told Ayrton to turn his camera off, but he wouldn't listen.
You know, what happens when I drink tequila? Clothes come off.
So, do you want to get into this issue, Ayrton? You want to start us off? I know you said I know you said you weren't ready, so I'm just going to go ahead and put you on the spot.
Okay. Nope, I got it.
You doing what pretty much most of my teachers ever did.
Yeah, trying to talk.
The one did without my hand up in the back of the class and that. No, bro. Oh, I'm not gonna give my own name. Like, you know, fucking. But you know, they've been screaming my name. It's like, yeah, what? You know the answer, right? Like, no, I fucking don't. That's why I kept my hand down.
So teachers pull that shit over there too.
Oh, I think it's one of the oldest trick in the teacher's fucking handbook. What's I wrote it that was boring end of the 1800s? Like, yes, this is how you demoralize your students. That's how you break them down so you can rebuild them again. Except there is no rebuilding in high school. They just chuck you out after a few years. Like,
without teaching you anything useful, but
yeah, exactly.
You can calculate the hypotenuse of a triangle, but you don't know how to do your fucking taxes.
Yeah, are you gonna start talking about this book, or am I gonna?
Novelbro distracted me.
Let's start talking about this book.
I'm just wondering.
Let's go with Novelbro started it. He distracted me.
Look, I will start some audio issues right now. I will turn an echo on. I don't give a shit.
I mean, I can do worse than that if you want. Don't test me.
What happens if he jinxes it for me too? I know.
Oh, man.
But yes, let's start with the cover, shall we?
All right. 1602, Part 7.
Yeah, I like it.
In which many patterns may be discerned by those with eyes to see them. We open our story. Doctor Strange.
What the fuck are you doing?
Locked in...
You knock that shit off right now. This is not how we do things here. We are not trying to put the people to sleep. I will kick the shit out of you.
Yeah, maybe about an hour and a half at least, you know. Like, try not to put me to sleep straight away, Ayrton. I know I'm in my bed, but please
About 3
cut me a
minutes.
break here.
About 3 minutes into Ayrton's little soliloquy, I just passed the fuck out. I've drank all my bourbon for the episode in 3 minutes because I just can't handle this shit.
Yeah, all in one fucking glug, 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 glug,
Right.
glug, glug, glug,
Like I'm doing right now.
Oh,
I'm going to
yeah.
blame Danielle for showing me this coffee called Death's Wish that has a ton of caffeine, and I've been drinking like a pot of it a day at work and being like super sarcastic and
Jesus, you must have
whatnot like all week.
your spleen must be killing you right now, man.
I don't know, it feels fine.
Oh, dearie, dear, I can barely.
Anyway.
Anyway, let's get back, please.
Yeah.
Please,
Anyways,
let's
so
get back to this.
so we
19
open up with
minutes
Doctor
in.
Strange locked in his cell, and night. Do we know who the narrator is yet? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Because
this
the
is
last
him-
issue,
This is him.
yeah, the last issue we saw the Watcher like bestow his knowledge onto Stephen Strange.
Right. Okay. Now I remember. Yeah, so we have him basically sitting there contemplating his death.
Well, yeah,
Question mark?
he's been captured by King James. He's sitting in his cell, and he's just contemplating the sheer mass amount of information because the Watcher has passed on the knowledge of what happened before and what's coming forward. And he's just kind of like sitting there contemplating because he's sworn to secrecy for as long as he lives.
Hence why I said life? Question mark.
Yeah.
But and then we cut to probably my favorite bit of this, except for one part. One part's stupid, but we jump over to Magneto, who has been. I'm just saying Magneto. I forgot what they actually call him in this.
Yeah, we know who he is by now, you know.
Yeah.
So, cut to him chained up, which is dumb. That
They don't know
use
it's
metal
dumb
chains
yet.
on him.
They don't know it's dumb
yeah.
yet.
Well, I'll tell you what is quite dumb of him. Telling them where all his cool shit is.
Yeah, it's very Bond
on
villain.
it right in front of him. You know, apparently all stuff that he'd been writing, all the knowledge he'd accumulated, and they were burning scrolls right in front of him. Nothing. He did nothing until they brought him his helmet.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, the bad guy totally Bond villain to all this shit, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
Like these are guys supposedly from the Vatican or whatever. What was that?
No, I'm saying just especially if he's so Bond villain that he's got his very own lizard frog guy on a chain. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Do you not have one of those?
Well, I didn't like the way they did Toad in this series. Like, that's just, I don't know.
I didn't either.
It's really weird.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
Like, there are so many, like, you could have used somebody like Mole Man if you were going for that grotesque look. Like, Toad's always just a little more, like, charismatic than that. Like, he's, like, less likable Nightcrawler more so than this.
Yeah. At least erring more towards, Wagner, certainly.
Right. So, yeah, like Ayrton was saying, this is, the judgment of Magneto, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch. But little do they know that they have essentially captured the Master of Magnetism. So, very quickly they find out the error of their ways once, the Vatican representative is presented with Magneto's helmet. He just kind of floats it over to himself, puts it on, and frees himself and his children. Quicksilver just runs around and beats the shit out of everyone real quick. Scarlet Witch just fucks everyone up. And
well, now hold on. This is one of the.
Go ahead.
You skipped over part that I thought was dumb. His helmet.
Yeah.
They should have made it more period correct in design. not this weird. Not try and make it look like Magneto's actual helmet. They should have made it more 17th century looking, in my opinion. I really don't like the way they designed that. It looks kind of
If you take a
cheesy.
look,
Well,
for
if-
instance,
hold on real
Charles
quick,
V
Novelbro.
on Habsburg.
Ayrton, if I wanted your historical opinion, I wouldn't have invited Novelbro. I'm just fucking with you. What say you, man?
I'll put it this way, right? Ayrton has a point, right? If you look at Charles V von Habsburg, fucking his helm, his whole entire armor set resembled like gorillas or apes, you know, like fucking chimpanzees, just to like, you know, instill a sense of fear in his enemies whenever he actually led his troops in battle or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I just think like with such detail, you could. I think I'm trying to remember who it was that made it. It definitely wasn't an Austrian. Definitely wasn't a German smith. I believe it was an Italian smith, and people obviously wanted to look stylish then, especially
there
with
was
the
a-
land necks and that. Everything's all flamboyant as fuck.
Well,
You'd
the
want that,
Italians were known for
the-
their stone and metal work at the time, correct?
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I think Magneto, back then, he probably would have used his powers to at least, you know, shape it in a way, you know.
Right. Yeah, not
Especially if
this.
he wanted to look badass, if he wanted to look like a high inquisitor, you know.
Right.
Although he'd probably want to keep the other shit quiet. But if he was to go at battle with some steel on his head, you know, and if he controlled the power of metal, nobody would know what power that helm had on if he had it, if he put it on like a normal human being, you know.
Well, what about the other armor in this particular part? What about the Vatican soldiers and the soldiers on loan from?
Spanish guard did, the Inquisitor guards did. Yeah, they looked quite legit, by the way, especially with the tall helms and stuff, and the fact that they had preference for pikes as well. I thought it was really quite interesting, actually.
Okay.
And a couple of we'll get to a couple of points as well, but there are other things in this issue that impressed me.
Right. Your
All
main
right.
gripe, Ayrton, is the style of the helm. How they basically just mimic Magneto's helm and put a little insignia on it.
Yeah, and put like a fucking dragon on the front or whatever that's supposed to be.
Okay.
That seems like a quite cheap way to create something that has an air of awe to it on
Yeah.
and there are better ways to go about it, especially if you're drawing it for comics. There's greater designs in which that you can replicate at different angles and to scale.
Yeah.
And
If you, like in live show chats, my phone, like if you started with something like that as a base and made it like super crazy and intense, that would have been cooler, in my opinion.
exactly.
I'll pull that up real quick.
Just slightly anachronistic, just to give it a slight, oh, cool, but not
Yeah.
too much, by 1 or 2 centuries or so. Something that
Right.
would be believable in the 17th century as a throwback,
Right.
Because the Inquisition were all about the throwbacks, man. All about because the Inquisition, they had Inquisitors before the Great Inquisition. They had them like find all the heretics, all the grand priests of secret orders and stuff, and they had them brought to the Vatican. Yeah. Before all the Jesuits came to town, the Vatican got shit done.
Someone trusts the
medieval
Jesuits.
Vatican, like literally, I'd say they were at their best about any time between 50 to say 10 years before the schism happened, when they still had the help of the Council of Nicaea, when they still got along before they started chucking shade at each other and excommunicating each other. You excommunicate me? You walk up to the highest Sophia and put this on the floor of the Nicene Patriarchs? Get that scroll, get that inkwell, and get that quill. We're excommunicating this fucker before he gets out the door.
Never step to a man. Sorry.
That's right. Never step to a real man.
I had to.
Fucker.
Oh,
Hey,
no,
what's up,
that's
Dan?
When
Good to
said
see you,
that.
buddy.
Same energy.
Never step to a man, Tonka. Anyway, moving
Yeah.
moving on. You see that we pick up on the Eagle Shadow, which is the ship, basically guided by Thor, the Fantastic Four, and the X-Men. Um, and they're en route to America with Nick Fury. Uh, this is kind of a wordy part just to give the Fantastic Four a little bit of screen time since they've been locked away in Doom's dungeon. I feel like you could kind of scrap this entire part and you really wouldn't lose anything except for just kind of getting the demeanor of everyone. But if you know the
Right.
Fantastic Four, you kind of have their demeanor. Now, one interesting thing that does happen in on this boat in this issue is that it finally comes to a head between Scott Summers and the Angel, but that's getting a little bit ahead of myself. There's something that happens in between, and I figured
I
I'd turn it over to
I do want to.
Novelbro. Go ahead.
Well, I want to bring up one thing that I really like about the Fantastic Four design, I guess,
Yeah, go ahead.
is they don't have like full control over their powers. Like Johnny Storm is still kind of on fire constantly. Mr. Fantastic, like he's all like misshapen. The Invisible Girl is constantly invisible. I like that touch to it. Like kind of this, like they're still smart adventurer scientist type people, but don't have the advanced science that we have today. So they haven't quite figured out how scientifically to make their powers completely work for themselves. I thought that was a nice little touch.
I looked at that in a little bit of a different setting. I looked at it as almost like all of them have to have PTSD after what they've been through from Doom.
Well, they're like this in the spin-off story too.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in the spin-off story, they were
Which
still
takes-
captured by Doom.
No, the spin-off takes place before this.
Does
doesn't
it? I thought
I think it does.
everything that happens in the spin-off happens after the end of the series, specifically
Does
because of what happens at the end of the series. Yes,
Okay.
because this.
Oh wait, no, yeah, you're right.
I usually am.
Because the end of the Fantastic Four spin-off, I won't spoil it. Yeah, that makes sense. Never mind. I got mixed
But
up.
I mean, I don't discredit what you thought. I mean, yeah, it could be the science thing. I just read into it as them all having PTSD, basically, because I mean,
could see that, too.
there's implications that Sue's been sexually assaulted. Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, has literally been waterboarded for years at this point, basically, constantly. And Reed Richards has been basically sapped for knowledge by someone he considered a friend. I mean, obviously there are varying degrees of this PTSD, but I kind of looked at it as just like a trauma thing. Like their powers are kind of responding to their mental state.
Yeah, I feel like I remember reading in the spin-off that they don't have like full control over it.
Yeah,
So,
but that's not gaming writing, and that goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. But we're getting a little off track.
True. Anyways, sorry.
There is a.
You were going to ask Novelbro something.
Yeah, I was actually going to turn the story over to him for a moment because this next sequence is the interaction between Virginia Dare, Rohaj, and King James, and I just wanted I did. What? I mean, you want to explain what happened here, and what your thoughts on it were?
Well, let's just say the colony of Roanoke was always, it was always cursed, It
Yes.
was never going to end well for the Pilgrims there. I just like the fact how King James was, how the accuracy to King James was quite true there because he really did pull a lot of fund into whatever colony wasn't making him money. So quite a lot of the colonies that were around in say the 1700s had to be re-inhabited after the funding and support of them had been lost a century earlier. So like a lot had been lost, and nobody went back to Roanoke. that sort of made sense because obviously the more reports that the court of King James were receiving about it were, getting quite troubling. And I
Right.
think if anybody did return afterwards, it would be fucking centuries later. But yeah, that island is cursed, and even
Yeah,
King James knew it.
I don't think people don't even live there now, do they? It's just a
No, I
historical
don't think
marker at
so.
this
I
point.
don't think so. I think people tried to on several different occasions, but it just went horribly wrong, or it just
Yeah.
fell flat on its face. And they decided to say fuck this. We're just gonna get out of here. There's no gains for us here.
All right, now I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, I'll need to do some looking at the Roanoke colony because
I'm
the
not.
more Virginia is mentioned about it, the more it is mentioned, the more it intrigues me.
Well, the
I
thing
just like
is,
the
the
fact that he turns to Rojas and says, "Aye, perhaps we should find you a good Scottish ride to tame you, hey, big man." Like, yeah, that's probably about right. I think a Scottish woman could tame Rojas. They're fucking mad enough.
as long as it wasn't Susie Lou. Um,
No,
are you guys ready to trade her off in the next draft? Who are you looking at to trade her for? I joke. But
anything. I'll go with it just for the sake of humor.
but the overall concept here is Virginia Dare was sent to England to actually treat with Queen Elizabeth before her death. And because of the series of events that happened during the first attempt to meet with Queen Elizabeth, with her turning into a griffin, after she regained consciousness, King James was already on his ascension to power, so this is her first opportunity to meet with him. And she meets with him and his advisor, Bruce. Now, obviously, Rohaj is not impressed with these people, and
No, naturally.
she
They're not going to play ball with them.
she speaks in the defense of Stephen Strange and to the defense of America, and basically gets brushed off by King James. And from what I understand about his demeanor is that was basically his MO. Like he's not far off base here. He says, I have two countries I have to look after. What the fuck should I actually care about what you think? Like, I know you were sent here from
Exactly.
the Americas, but basically you're all traitors. Like, why am I fucking with you?
And just to think it by 1605 too would
Yeah.
become 3 and 6 extra counties.
Right.
So yeah, that like he did not have a lot of time or money to spare on anything over the pond,
Well,
and that kind of did him big time favors because it allowed him to afford chances to make his reforms without getting fucked over in the process. He had the money to leave people to it while he could watch his own back.
Well, and really, if you look at it, that kind of helped America grow and to be able to be an independent nation
yeah,
eventually.
it made him
You know,
self-sufficient.
150, 150 years later. That's probably a good part of the reason we won the war. I would
Well,
imagine.
it was the fact that, and this is just speculation, but it was the
Well, yeah,
fact that
of course.
the crown basically was like, we really don't have the funds to help these guys. But then when America started turning a profit, they started skimming off the top, even though they didn't do anything to build it up.
Right. And then we were like, yo, King George, fuck you.
Look at my cock. We got our own George. We got our own George. And he's better. He'll shoot you from the trees, motherfucker.
I got the battle saber of George Washington. I'm not gonna deny it. That sword looks hench as fuck. Honestly, I wouldn't mind getting a replica of that bad boy someday.
Just wait until it's mandatory to wear a mask everywhere in Scotland and just go rob the museum that houses the original Novelbro.
£60 fine on the spot if the police catch you walking out of a shop without a mask on. I get halfway down the stairs, get it, then I have to run back up for it like a fucking cunt, man.
I do the same goddamn thing. I walk around and everybody either looks like a fucking bank robber or like they're visiting from Hong Kong.
I just tell
Like,
people
I see some
I have a
people pulling
medical
up these
condition
stupid
that
neck
doesn't allow me
scarves
to
up
wear
and that.
one.
What's that protecting you from? Oh, wait. Prosecution. Right.
Yes, basically. It's training the cameras, Novelbro. Calm down. But
Yeah, I suppose.
upon leaving the castle, she encounters Mistress Cleo, which is Stephen Strange's wife in this series. They have an on again, off again relationship in the mainstream storyline as well, but it's very important because she somehow, some way, probably because of her extra dimensional capabilities, Cleo that is, understands the plight that Stephen Strange is in, and she forbids Virginia Dare and Rohaj from freeing Stephen Strange. And Virginia's just like, maybe we can reason with King James, maybe he'll be merciful. And again, that just doesn't really go with his MO. That's just not his shit. No, fire and brimstone. Fuck you. I have convictions, and I'm not gonna fucking sacrifice them. You're wrong.
Exactly.
But I really do like how that was written fairly true to form. But this is a little allusion set up to something that happens a little later in the book. But now we step back to my last illusion and back on the ship with the X-Men. And Angel and Scott Summers, they have a little bit of a clash with one another because Angel continues to refer to Jean Grey as Master Grey, and Scott just loses his shit, right? And he's just like,
I kind of like this part.
Yeah, he's just like, drop the facade. She's a girl. I don't understand why you keep this up. And then he realized he's just being an asshole because dude didn't even know. Now you cut away to. Go ahead.
I just said, acting out the way you didn't know. Wait, you didn't know? Oh.
Oh, you didn't know? But you cut back
you
to
could say he was a bird brain.
You cut below deck.
I really need to get my keyboard up here hooked in. Anyways, sorry.
I hate you so much.
I'm doing that tomorrow.
You cut away to below deck and you see Charles Xavier, just having a psychic conversation with Jean as her life force basically gives out from the the drain of keeping the ship afloat and keeping everyone safe in the battle at Doom's Tower. And she passes away, but her final request is to not have her body be given to the sea. And this is one of the bigger, heavier parts of the story. It goes a little faster here. Like, you see the execution of Stephen Strange, and Peter watches it, and it proves his allegiance to the crown a little further.
I like how King James is just like eating a sandwich during it.
Yeah.
So having his wee feast and no deed witch. I like it. That's King James down to a T, because he used to attend quite a lot of these executions, especially if they were suspected witches. Oh, I've got to show up for this one. Let's see if this one fucking explodes in a ball of flame or something. Let's just see. Here, no, fill the wine. More wine. Ah, that's it. Right, wait. Execution up. 2 seconds. Got my munch coming. Hold on. Go. That was King James. That was King James to a T.
But after the execution, you see Cleo conversing with the head of Stephen Strange. Basically, it's in the spectral realm. That's what the freaky colors in the background are. And Cleo and he are interacting as though he's still alive until you flip the page and you realize that she's talking to a head on a pike. but in death he is allowed to share the information garnered from the Watcher, and that's something that I just kind of want to lament on because that's been a thing about the Watcher ever since the beginning. Um, Novelbro, I know you're not really big on the Watchers. What are your experience with the Watchers, Ayrton? Like, what do you know about
Really just ancillary shit from them being in the background of stuff. I haven't read a whole lot that
them? Okay.
focuses a ton on them.
The key thing about the Watchers as a species is their number one rule is not to interfere. No matter what, we do not interfere. So
Yeah, I know that bit.
this is just a really roundabout way of being able to interfere. You basically give all the information to the good guys, and he's like, you can't tell anybody while you're alive, even though this man's consciousness can carry on after his body expires.
Yeah, they're literally the cat at the side of the road that guides you to the final main quest.
Yeah,
That's all these watchers really are. Like, I'm the one who feeds you with all the information that ties all the story together. Now you must walk through that door. No, I can't help you. I just told you how to do it.
actually, I think of the Watchers a little more as I am the one who knocks. Um, you
I
know,
am the danger.
they are. Because the
But
thing is when anything like when shit goes down, Watchers show up. Like they are the cat in the cradle. They are the canary call to danger. Um, when the Age of Apocalypse came up, a Watcher just kind of showed the fuck up. When Xavier died, a Watcher was just like, "Oh fuck," and was completely
it's like
visible to Apocalypse.
it's very reminiscent of like the Angel of Death concept, or like
Yes,
just basically any sort of Reaper archetype. Like they just show up if they're expecting some dude to drop dead, just waiting, 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 and waiting until
they
the
can't
does
do
drop.
anything to influence anything around them, but their mere presence is enough to instill fear and
It's dread for living.
Yeah, like if they actually show up in front of you, that means some serious shit's about to happen.
right.
Yeah. Yep.
But Cleo takes Strange's head and puts it in the bag. She,
Which, well, I just if he can talk astrally, why does she physically need his head? That part never made sense to me.
to take his
Unless
conscious.
his head's like a Wi-Fi router, like she can only
It's his
hear the head from so far away.
yeah, literally like it is his
Okay.
connection to the physical realm. Yeah.
Well, like you would think it would
It's
be like a
literally
ring or an
a
amulet or
really
something like
smelly
that.
Bluetooth
Typically like a
speaker,
spirit is
essentially.
attached to like an object.
Yeah, but I
here
mean,
in our world.
Think about it like this, okay? I bring you a ring or a bracelet or something that belonged to someone, and I relay a message to you, or you hear a message from them inside your head or whatever. But the only like representation of them that's present is a piece of jewelry. You're probably just gonna
I
be
mean,
like, "Oh fuck
I
you!
get it.
I bring you a motherfucker's
I
head,"
mean,
and then you hear his voice inside
I
your own head. You're gonna shit yourself and then
I
do
mean,
what the head told you to do.
I get it from that point of view, but from a purely mythological folklore point of view, I like the physical object thing a little bit better. But
Well, yeah, it's a matter of preference. He explains that
Yeah, 'cause I suppose if you look at Celtic mythology, like there's several different ways in which somebody's head has talked to
okay,
people.
but
One or
Celtic
two
mythology actually
conventional
had
Celtic mythology, it's been told that the mouth is moved sometimes, but in other tales it just looks like the eyes are looking at you, but they're speaking to you. Yeah, there's a
right,
lot
but
of
Novelbro.
mythology that looks into that.
Celtic mythology also has a dude that turns himself into a fish just because he's stuck with 40 women, and another guy that reads poetry to a storm to get it to go away. So Celtic mythology is batshit insane.
Wait,
Absolutely.
that's not how you. That's not how you deal with storms where you're at.
Not usually.
No, you should try it. It works. Um,
All
we
right, I'll give it a go.
we
Even unlimited. Give it a shot.
we find out a little bit of backstory that basically Strange understands that there is something called the Forerunner, which is the catalyst to all of the things that are happening. And if the Forerunner does not go back to its own time and place, then this universe will kind of fold in on itself. Um, that's what he's told, and he's just like, you have to go back to America. So we're basically kind of supposed to believe at this point that Virginia Dare is the Forerunner. She is the anomaly. Whatever power imbued upon her is, the issue, so to speak.
So God cucked her dad. God cucked people again.
God,
Jesus, first Joseph, now him. Fucking
yeah,
hell.
yeah, he has a habit of that. But what are you gonna do? It's God.
Damn
God,
it, God. Keep it
God's
in
a
your
Chad.
pants. You're worse than Zeus, man.
Now, Ayrton, why don't you talk about probably the heaviest scene in this entire series?
I don't know why you
comes
keep
after
asking me
this.
to do this. You know I'm terrible at this part of the show.
Because I'm trying to make you better.
I show up. Okay, I get paid to be sarcastic.
You don't get paid at all. Shut the fuck up. Just do your job.
But I can get paid if you guys donate to the lunch money fund down below.
Well, it's not down below anymore, but it's streamlabs.com /
What?
Well, why would it be down below? I've had the comic book up.
I don't know. No, I thought you had the link down in the description.
Oh, it is in the description down below, but you didn't say
Okay.
that. Streamlabs.com / Church of Failure.
Well, when you say down, anyway, I don't know why I pointed down when I said that. I'm not on camera.
Same
Anyway.
reason why I was telling my ghost story last night. I had a flashlight underneath my chin, even though no one could see me.
I believe that 1,000% that you were actually doing.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I had a
Time to
little
get the
Lego
real
Man
prop-
flashlight that my daughter uses, but I had a little Lego Man flashlight, and I just had it underneath my chin while I told the whole story. Anyway, since Ayrton's being a cuck,
Anyways,
are you gonna do it?
so I'll try. It's gonna be terrible, but I'll try.
Do it.
Hold on, where are we? Okay, so sorry, I had to catch back up to where we're at in the book. So we cut back to the ship. With Angel talking about how they asked him if he would be the one to carry her into the sky, and how he just couldn't do it. So the Human Torch takes her up, and then a really powerful scene or panel, I guess, of Scott with tears coming out of his eyes, just blasting her body with his concussive blast, which is it's kind of freaky to look at, isn't it? Like but you can't look away from that panel.
very,
Do you
very
guys
much
get that
so.
from looking at that bit?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like it freaks me out, but like I keep looking at it.
Now,
And then
I wanted to ask Novelbro, is this actually a thing? Like, when she said, "Don't give my body to the sea," is that a thing between men and women? Like, were men just kind of cast into the sea and women not for some special reason?
No, I think it's her way of straying away from any kind of normalcy of that time. Because, committing your body to the sea and being buried, they were both considered the same sort of similar thing. Or being cremated and being given to the sea, they were considered the same, just another person's wishes at the time. I suppose at that time of people going to the new world and whatnot, it's yeah, a lot of people would have wanted to, just like, just give my thing to the sea, it's fine. But then again, there probably would have been some, like, oh fucking hell, like, please, 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 please don't feed me to the sea. I had enough nightmares about sharks as it is, man. Jesus. Just if you find an island, just fucking launch me on it. I don't care if something with 4 legs eats me, as long as I'm fucking dead. But just don't fucking let the things below the surface eat me, because they'll crawl into it. Oh, don't do it. Just bury me at land.
Right.
And I think that's just all it is. A personal preference of somebody who's probably been at sea a little too long in the past, you know.
But like Ayrton said, it's a very powerful scene, and you actually get a glimpse of the Phoenix.
Which I thought that was kind of dumb.
Yeah, I did too.
I get why they did it, but I thought it was stupid.
It
like,
took away
okay,
it took away from the heaviness of the moment,
right?
In and of itself. Like,
Yeah.
oh, there's the Phoenix for it. It's like if you ever reimagine the X-Men from this era, you're gonna see the Phoenix. Cool. Not.
Yeah, you can easily bring her back now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really stupid.
So,
especially when it says and then there was nothing left, nothing but ashes. But you just showed us the goddamn Phoenix. So which one is it? Is she entirely gone, or is there a hint of the Phoenix Force in her? Like, make up your mind.
She's about halfway down the mast before, you know, like, and she's still got a full form. I can still see a leg and a half there, arms,
right,
a head and a chest. She fucking sploshed. She splish sploshed. Nothing but ashes, my ass.
There's another, like, couple of sequences in the story that I'll just kind of breeze through real quick. You have Virginia Dare and Rohaj being escorted by Cleo off to the Virginia Maid and sail back to America. You have a dream by Peter Parker, and then he is awakened by King James and called a traitor, and told to prove that he's not a traitor by tracking down Nick Fury. You have a discussion by the Four of the Fantastic, where Ben Grimm is just like, "Hey, I don't want to be a monster anymore. Can you fix me?" And Reed's just like, "No, you're better the way you are." Which, I mean, kind of always struck me, like, because that's been Reed's position for the entire time, like in the regular universe.
I mean, that's
this
a
one.
that's a long running Fantastic Four trope.
But, you know, it's kind of just Reed being a dick. Like, maybe I don't want to be an orange rock monster. Maybe I want to, like, you know, have a woman or something that is okay with my giant rock penis. And there aren't any of those, so I want my regular penis back. Whatever. But he's just like, no, you're much more interesting the way you are. And I'm just like, fuck you,
That would
Reed.
be the biggest insult ever. They'd be like, so you're not even going to try and fix me? Like,
what the fuck?
This, man. I can't even kill myself because I'm too tough to kill. Like, fucking hell. What do I do? Just sink to the bottom of the sea? Oh, wait, that can't fucking kill me either.
Now, you cut back over and you get a glimpse of Magneto, clean shaven, and
real quick.
Yeah.
Since he's entirely stone, like even his organs, right? Like his whole entire being is stone.
I don't know.
He can't
I don't think his internals are stone. I think he just has that plating. I'm not sure. Okay. Because he has eyes,
I
right?
He was entirely stone.
Like his eyes aren't.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's what's confusing about it. Because if he's entirely stone, then he also can't get an erection because there's not blood flowing properly to an organ.
He is an erection, Ayrton.
Well, that's
constantly erect, man.
What's going on, Dillard? Good to see you, buddy. This guy Church is dumb as hell. Fuck you. Fuck you, Dillard. I love you. But I think I told you on your own show you can suck my fat white cock. But you get...
apparently he's black from the belly button down, lads.
That's correct. You get a shot of Magneto in his full, current modern regalia, purple and red. I actually did like this. Like, I know it's just fan service, but I really like this.
I'll give him, at least they made it look kind of monkish.
Yeah, it's definitely period appropriate, but
at least they did that. And
And
you know what? Something people don't realize, for like, old, medieval up to Renaissance Europe, there was color everywhere. People loved, bright colors and stuff like that. It made them like feel fancy. So, it's not outside the realm of possibility that he would dress like that. It wasn't all gray and brown and green and whatever.
Exactly. Oh, matter of preference by then.
but
You
Right.
wanted to dress bland, you would dress bland.
well
You
then
wanted to dress all. No,
well
fire on, fire on.
okay, well then we actually come to the end of chapter 7, and basically, you have Cleo explaining that Stephen Strange thought that Virginia Dare was the anomaly that started off everything. And Cleo's just like, he was kind of wrong. That the anomaly is not you, Virginia. It's Rohaj.
Fucking hell.
And he's just like,
Fucking hell, I'll be right back.
of course you will. Rohaj just kind of cocks his head to the side, and he's like, well, if you put it like that, Miss Strange, I guess she's not the anomaly. And this is the first time that he's spoken with that cadence in the entire book. So, I mean, give it up to Stephen Strange for, trying, but give it up to Steve Rogers for the best performance, right?
Yep. Like the Steve Rogers just had to slip through. But you'll notice that probably that could be quite a viable story, so to speak, especially when you see the start of chapter 8.
Well,
You see, like, maybe there's a chance that Steve Rogers could have slipped through just a little bit as Rohaj.
well, and I'll wait for Ayrton to get back. I'll go ahead and get it set up so that we can jump into it when he gets here. But I honestly, I was a little upset by issue 8. Like, I don't feel like this closed as well as it could have.
Nah, I feel you. I feel you. I know exactly where you're coming from on that. It wasn't what I expected, an eighth, an eighth outing, an eighth chapter to be for this.
Well, a
But
final
it is
chapter,
what
like,
it
I think they kind of took Rohaj and Steve Rogers' character, and I don't expect you to follow this, but and we'll talk about it when we get there. But I don't think they took his character into question.
I am back, by the way. My beer kind of overflowed when I opened it and got all over my
Got a little-
leg and the floor.
Got a little excited, did you? Feed yourself?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
What did you think of part 8 of the story, in which we discover the way of the world?
I liked it. I understand why it had to be here, if that makes sense.
I think they just kind of undid everything that they did to make Steve Rogers an interesting, like, Shyamalan twist at the end of this, because they completely stepped all over his character, in my opinion. But we'll get to that when we get to it.
sounds very 2003.
Huh?
Well, this came out in 2010, so
I thought this was earlier than that. Sorry.
It was 2004.
oh wait, no. Oh wait, no. I was looking at the copyright for
The digital.
the reprint. Never mind. Yeah. The copyright for the digital's 2010. My bad.
Yeah. So we open up with kind of a retelling of the origin of Captain America, and
Which was
then-
really dumb.
Well, is it?
Like,
Because one of the main things that we talked about with this story is that it would be a fun story to introduce people that didn't read comic books to actually read a comic book. So you might not
Yeah, up
actually
until
know who
this
the fuck
issue.
Captain America is.
Yes, but up until this issue,
Really?
if they would have not put this in, so
I mean,
I
go
don't know,
ahead and
there's a
defend
lot of-
it.
so the biggest thing that I hate about this is the Captain America arc. All the other stuff is cool. I'm I like all the little conflicts, especially with Thor and all that stuff. But it's really just the Captain America part that I really hate. They should have. I don't. Again, I kind of I understand why they did it like this. If it was a longer running series, maybe they could have fleshed this out better.
Right.
But I don't know. It's just they could have done something cooler with it. I think. I don't know what that could have been, but they could have done something cooler with it.
But you get an introduction to Captain America, and then you see that the future becomes something that he didn't necessarily believe in, so to speak. And Spider-Man and Daredevil seem to have been imprisoned. It just
As old men still in their costumes.
yeah. As somebody who's read Earth X, that actually kind of touches me somewhere in my no spot. But he, he ends up going through some kind of equipment being strapped down, and they shot him in the head, not the chest. It felt like a hammer. I remember that. And then I just remember pain, and after that, things got kind of foggy for a long time, and he wakes up in in the Americas in 1602, the 1600s, whatever. I guess it's like 1580 something. And, he grows into the character of Rohaj, working with the Indians and helping found America. I hate that you can actually smoke on stream and I can't because I don't smoke in my house. I hate you a little bit for that.
Smoking a cigar. I'm out of cigarettes. I'm trying not to smoke as many cigarettes. So I didn't buy them.
Well, if I had a cigar, I still wouldn't be able to smoke it in my house, you fuck. I have children. That shit considered child abuse now.
That's fair.
But
that's a good point.
Anyway, he explains that his whole mission basically has been to protect Virginia Dare and protect the formation of America, and it almost seems like he wants to redo everything and prevent the future that he came up in from happening. And it's really interesting because at this point, Captain America's several hundred years old. Right? Not several hundred, but he's close to 150, 200 years old at this point when you count in the freezing time and all that good shit.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, the super soldier serum is keeping him in great shape. I wonder if he could make it. Go ahead.
No, you go. I was gonna say it would be fun to wind that clock back and see Rojas running around in the time of the the conquistadors, Hernan Cortez running around, because I think that sounds like 100 years before 1602. Talking about the early 1500s.
I think it's 15 years before 1602.
Yeah.
So how many years was Rojas, and how old was he when he became the whole big Rojas that we would know him? Was it like 50 years before that, or 15?
No. The way the timeline works is he was, in his 20s during World War II.
Right.
And then, he fought for his country, and then decades went past. Judging by the appearance, I would say that Spider-Man and Daredevil are probably in their, 60s, 70s? So,
yeah, something like that.
If they were in their 20s when he got thawed out at 70, then you tack another 40 years onto that, and that's 110.
Right.
So yeah, he'd have been about 125 by the time he arrived and became Rohaj. Just straight up age wise, he'd be about 125 years old.
would it be the same in the 1602 universe? Would they be about 150 years old then?
He actually
Well,
doesn't exist in those
he's
universes.
yeah, he's our
Right.
Captain America.
Yeah,
If you
he's a
look at it
six.
from that point of
The
view, who
way
went back in time.
the way Marvel works, Novelbro, just so you know, every alternate timeline has its own numerical designation. And the mainstream
Naturally,
Marvel universe is Marvel 616. So Marvel 616 is the Marvel universe that Captain America was born into World War II at 20 years old with the super soldier serum. The universe where Tony Stark was caught in, weapons testing or, roadside explosion, whatever they retold it as, and became Iron Man in the 90s. Or 70s or whenever he became Iron Man in that particular telling, when the Fantastic Four went into space. But 1602 is supposed to take place on Earth 616, but because Captain America went back in time, it sparked the Age of Heroes at a time earlier than it should have happened. Because none of this stuff was supposed to happen for another 350 years, 400 years.
right.
So all of these characters and archetypes actually started popping up way before they were supposed to. Then again, it's actually been explored that the Avengers and the archetypes of people like Ghost Rider and shit like that have actually been around since the prehistoric era, and that just fucked this concept all to hell. But we're not going to talk about that on this show.
Okay. Easy then. Plenty of time to talk about it during the prequels and fucking sequels and whatnot.
Oh no, you're fine, man. Like that's what it's all about. Like that's the
Yeah.
beauty of comic books. Like you have shit that goes like that.
And it gets really confusing.
Naturally, you went too in depth with it. You'd probably be talking about it for about 2 hours straight before you moved on to any new
Oh yeah,
topic.
that's a show in and of itself.
Yeah. Yeah, just trying to
definitely,
track
definitely.
all the entire Marvel timeline.
Now, can I just say that the entire deprecating series of Donald the Templar and his drunken shit is just I hate it. I hate it so much. Like it's such a waste of space.
Really?
Yeah.
I found it kind of amusing.
I mean, when you have moments like the entire ship being covered in ice, when you have moments like Angel admitting that he's in love with Jean Grey, but only in love with her because she thought he was a dude.
Okay, yeah, that was dumb.
You,
I guess I was more thinking in the colony when he's drunk off his ass. I enjoyed that.
I mean, it's entertaining, but it just doesn't make any sense. Like it feels like padding to me.
Really?
Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
add to the general story.
Yeah, it
Well,
doesn't.
because I kind of see it like he's having an existential crisis. Being a devout Christian for his entire life, then finding out that Thor, like one of the old gods, is real and trying to deal with that.
Yeah, but it's not a final issue kind of storyline. Like you do that issue 3 or 4.
No. Well, yeah,
like,
that's
because here's the thing: you're expecting
the placement of this issue being the last one is kind of weak. Is like off.
Right.
Like it needs more. And like I like that concept, but the placement of it isn't good. I'll agree with you on that bit, but
right.
I like the concept of that.
Sure,
and it would be interesting to delve deeper into that.
Let me just put it into context for you. Like when you think big picture, okay. He has a moral conflict turning into the Norse god of thunder, right?
Right.
But he had full faith that it would fucking work when he did it the goddamn first time.
What else was he expecting?
Right.
I always wondered, like, why was he screaming? Why could Thor hear him screaming inside? It can't be that bad to turn into Thor, could it?
Well, if you know you're going to turn into Thor when you drop this fucking staff on the ground in a certain way, then why are you having a question of fate because you fucking did it? Why did you do it in the first place?
Well, did he know he would
What's it?
literally turn into Thor, or did he think it would just give him power? That's not really explained super clearly.
Either way,
Yeah.
you're questioning your own faith at that point. Like, you're literally, because if you have the powers of another god, obviously you're acknowledging that another god. I'm not pissed off at you. Just this whole scenario upsets me.
but
Like,
but in the same context, you have other beings here with powers that some people might consider gods. So maybe he didn't think like, oh, this is an actual deity from outside of our world. This is just one of these weird enchanted people, witch breeds or something we have lying around,
well,
and it's some sort of power connection to that.
let's take it. Let's
It's
take it
an
to brass
interesting
tacks.
concept. Well,
Let's take it
that's
to
why I
brass
said
tacks.
conceptually, it's very interesting.
It is
It just
interesting
needs to be
conceptually,
fleshed
but
out.
here's the thing: if he was truly
That's
a
all I'm saying.
Templar, if he was truly a Templar, and this item wasn't even connected to the name of a god, if he was truly a Templar, and somebody brought him something and said this is magic, it would have gone in the fucking fire immediately.
Yep. Unless it was a holy relic that had power, but if it wasn't holy, if it wasn't a relic that had
And
anything
if
to
it
do
was
with
holy-
The Templars collected a lot of things, though, didn't they?
And if it
Not
was
just
holy,
Christian relics.
well, I'm just saying, if it was
Okay.
quote unquote holy and supposed to be imbued with some kind of magical power, if it wasn't Christian and it was supposed to be magic, it would have gone in the fucking fire.
Well, I mean, we don't know though that they didn't try and do that and that it didn't burn because of the enchantment.
Oh, well, then they would have just buried it or thrown it out to sea or some shit. Like, they would have tried to get rid of it
I don't think
any
they
way
would
they
have
could.
I don't think they would have done that. They would have held on to it so it wouldn't fall into somebody else's hands. The Templars, they were greedy little fucks.
Novel,
the
bro.
vault of the Vatican, they've got all sorts of creepy shit down there.
Yeah. But, anyway, moving on.
I don't know. Again, I like the concept. I want an entire book on this guy dealing with Thor being real in this time frame. I want to read that.
Just so we could see more Thor, see what
Well,
he can do in the
I
comic
mean, I hate.
universe.
I don't like the clothing and helmet armor design, but I can forgive it because it's comics.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
anyway, moving on.
Mm.
I have a big problem with it. Like, it seems forced. It seems to me that if you travel 3 days from Jerusalem and have convoys that are trying to throw people off, that you obviously know what you're carrying. You obviously have faith that it's going to work the way you think it's going to work because you used it to save your life. And then once you realize it is what it is, you're going to go on a 4-day drinking binge because it questions your religion. What?
Yeah.
It just
Plus, yeah, the plenty drunken priests back then.
Sure. Absolutely. I don't get that, but the thing is, like, you can't tell me that you're like the guy and you're weirded out by something working the way you fucking thought it would. Anyway, you have Nick
Especially if there's scripture saying that like all the pantheistic gods are just means of like another one of God's many avatars. So if a great deity has spoken to you and given you wisdom that has helped you in life, chances are it's just another way of God talking to you. In another,
he also says though, because I had this page pulled up. He says that he's going to be cursed to hell for using this power. So it's not necessarily the fact that the old gods exist, it's the fact that he tapped into them for power that he's mostly having the issue with.
I don't know, like, again, it seems to me that it wouldn't be a moral quandary. Like, I feel like they would have rationalized it and just called it the power of an angel and just kind of rationalized the fact that maybe Thor was an angel. I'm not talking about in the actual text. I'm saying like this is how I feel like they should have gone about it in the text, as opposed to
But
taking up
he
3 to
names
4
himself as
pages.
Thor. Well, see, here's the thing, though. So during the conversion of around the 9th, 10th century, the forced conversion of the Norse people, so they didn't get like killed and fucked up by the Catholics. They said like, okay, we'll convert to your religion, but at the same time, you can find burials and stuff like that where they're still wearing pendants of Mjolnir and other
Sure.
iconography of Thor, where they're like, so basically they were saying like, yeah, Jesus is cool, we dig all that, don't kill people, be hip and groovy and all that Jesus shit, but we still really like Thor. So if they would,
We named the
according
day
to the
after him.
text, right?
Yep.
So according to
Thor.
the text in the book, they knew that this would unleash Thor, and he says here, this is the secret of the Templars, and it would have brought down popes and kings, is what he says here in this text.
But it wouldn't have.
So
That's
they
what I'm
wouldn't have
getting at. Like, what they would have rationalized it as him being like an angel, because you have the Archangel Michael.
The Pope would have tried to rationalize it, but the Templars, according to this, the Templars knew that he is not just an angel or something like that.
Then they wouldn't have
And
had the
that's
moral
issues
quandary.
But that's the issue, is because because the Templars are, aside from like the Catholic sects, were very, very devout religious organization. So it would have been a moral quandary knowing this exists and having to use this magic that's viewed as pagan, because they still at the time viewed paganism as having magical powers, hence hunting witches.
I guess. I approach things a lot more logically.
There's a lot of historical context going back like 1,000 years that I can see where this is going, and I like the concept. Like I said, it really needs more fleshing out.
Right.
It's not something you can break down in a page.
Right. You can't just give it 3 pages.
No. There's you could make an entire mini series out of just this guy's journey dealing with this, with historical flashbacks and the Templars getting this and learning what it is and trying to deal with it at that point, and then passing it down through Templar handlers and all this stuff. It's a really, really good concept for a story. Just the way they did it here is stupid. I will give you that. But the concept is really solid.
All right, I'm gonna step away for just a second. You guys go ahead.
Okay.
The stream might jump just a second, so okay, we're back.
Yeah. Okay. I was about to ask Novelbro something. In the context I put this in, what do you think about like that sort of conceptual idea?
Well, let's put it this way: if Donald was a bit older than he really was, if he'd been strapped with that bloody staff, with for ages and ages and ages, and it made sure that he never died, because he'd be the one to wield it and stuff like that, and he'd learn more about Thor along the way. That would have been quite interesting, but it would take quite a lot of time to flesh out, especially if you want to make it relevant to the 17th century. So then he would no longer be a Templar. He'd all of a sudden become a Knight of Malta, who were around until the 1700s.
Because when did the Templars get chased out of like mainland Europe and flee to the UK? I forget when that happened.
I believe it would have been the 13th century, the 1200s.
Okay.
I remember exactly what year.
I thought it was a little bit later than that.
No. That, because they managed to run away to England and Scotland. There's a chance they trained whoever was ready to face up against the Norman English might at the time. But at that time, people believed that William Wallace and a few others, especially those retaining Frankish-sounding names, they would speak French quite good, and most of these Templars were French origin. If you want to get to know, I hope to know the language, and be able to bridge that gap. Oh,
Isn't
that's
one
good.
of the
Do that
theories though that they fled to the Americas from the UK? So wouldn't it have
There is
been?
one rumor about that, but I'll need to look into that. But apparently, it's not fully legit.
Illuminati.
But there is yeah, people, yeah, you'll see that like on the Viper TV YouTube channel. You're
Mhm.
like, come on, man, you're just showing me the same fucking stills and fucking time lapse pictures of the fucking same fucking areas that we've already talked about before. Like, oh yeah, this is the place in America. No, it's not. I was in Scotland. You showed us it last week. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they technically, knew that America was here back then. They just didn't know it was as big as it
Oh,
is.
Novelbro, you'd have been proud of me yesterday. I used a turn of phrase from the UK on Twitter. I told someone not to piss in my pocket and tell me it's raining.
Good lad, good lad. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
But
I haven't even used that one in a while. Fucking hell.
but anyway, just moving the plot of the book along, so we're not stuck on page 3 forever.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Basically, the Eagle Shadow lands in America, and they get to Roanoke,
man.
and essentially the leader of Roanoke, Virginia Dare's father, what was his name? Ayrton. Was it William Dare or some shit?
William Dale, that sounds about right.
Maybe.
Ayrton.
Yeah, I'm sneezing. Sorry.
You're good.
Right, fair enough.
But
William Dale sounds about right. I don't know if it's William or not, but that doesn't mean
you're
it's
you're
true to me.
roboting a little bit,
I don't know.
Novelbro.
Oh, sorry.
You're good.
But yeah, I don't know too much about colonial history, but something about William Dare does ring like a true name there. I
But
don't know.
the
I
the
don't know.
leader
I'll look it
You
up.
guys would know more than I would.
the leader of Roanoke basically claims that the witch breed and the fantastic have come and basically taken over the town and fleeing from the UK. And Xavier points out that there are 3 ships following them. One, and all of them carry unfinished business, right? One is the Virginia Maid with Strange's Head, Clea, Virginia Dare, and Rohaj. Another is King James's own entourage with the equivalent of
old
Bruce Banner, the
retinue?
Hulk, and
Oh, fuck.
Peter Parker, and what's the third one?
Ananias Dare. Sorry, that's.
Yeah, fuck that name. William Dare. That's what we're gonna call him. We're gonna call him Bill Dare, actually.
And she wasn't the first child born in the New World. Fuck you. Anyways, sorry.
I mean, that's highly contested, but she's the first one acknowledged.
She's the first child born in America, but not the New World. But that's.
We're not going to get into
Anyways,
another argument
sorry,
right
continue.
now. We've already had our argument.
I mean,
but
Done well. We've done well. Let's keep the momentum going.
what's the third ship? You have King James's entourage. You have and the third one is from Latveria, isn't it?
no, it's Magneto.
Oh, right. Coming to join the Witch Breed. Gotcha. Which are basically the X-Men. So Iceman puts one of the ships pretty much on ice, so to speak. And I believe that's Magneto's ship. He just kind of puts that shit on ice, like, fuck you.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's a plot point. Like, a lot of shit happens in this book, and it's too much to get to the end point. Like, I'm just gonna.
This should have been like 3 or 4 issues.
Yeah, this should have been a 12-issue miniseries. It feels like a series that got cut for fucking budget constraints, and I hate that because it was so good to this point. It was so good to this point, and then they just tried to cram all of the plot threads that had been woven into the final book. But the end-all, be-all of it is Captain America aka Steve Rogers, is the what they call the forerunner. Thank you, guy who is driving entirely too fast in a residential neighborhood. Um, but essentially, the end all be all of it is they come to find out that Steve Rogers came from the future, and he's the reason for the anomaly and the universe about to fold in on itself. And then you fast forward a little bit, and a bunch of shit happens. A Templar cries for a little while until he decides that, I'm just going to be Thor again because that's cool. And, Magneto makes a deal with the devil, so to speak, with him and Charles Xavier, and they basically reach their similar pact they reach in 616 in order to work together for the greater good. And basically, in order to fix everything, Steve Rogers has to go back where he came from, and this universe essentially has to cease to exist. But because the Watcher that had watched this universe did such a job and was able to save the multiverse, he's granted a gift by his betters, and that gift, once everything is resolved and Steve Rogers goes back, is the universe being broken down into something that he can hold inside of himself and continues to grow and flourish as a multiverse that is separate from 616. And that's how you get your spin-offs. Now, I know
Isn't it like
that
331?
something like that. But Novelbro, I know there are a few key parts in this issue that you take umbrage with. So please, sir, if you
Go
would
on.
do your thing.
No, let's just get to the picture and that.
Yeah, let me know what page that's on, and I'll pull that up.
I can't remember what page it's actually on. Hold on a second. Bloody hell. It doesn't say on it when I did the screenshot. It's when
Is
they're
it the
talking
screenshot
about.
you put in the chat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like I'll. It's when they're talking about when they say Bruce was escaping from the English, destroyed a
Well,
spider's web, and
I,
from
actually,
inside that hole.
real quick before you go off on that, I've got to pull one thing up and get your opinion on it because it makes me so happy.
I'm listening.
I'll get it up on screen, but it's the page where the Daredevil basically threatens to spill King James's guts all over his throne room.
Fuck's sake. That's stupid. That's one way to. That's one surefire way to get kind of like real life fucking King James off his seat and going from himself. Jesus Christ, the whole room would probably be ripping him limb from limb.
Well, the reason I bring that up is because, well, first off, Murdoch, the Daredevil, the blind guy, is essentially supposed to be basically in league with the demons. That's how he has the abilities he has. Now, the funny thing about this is, in one of the spin-offs, and I'll go ahead and spoil it for anybody that wants to join us for continuations of this. We'll take a couple of weeks off, and we'll coordinate on what we're gonna review or whatever. But we will be back to this. But in one of the future episodes, King James is equated with the Wolverine, and this scene makes no goddamn sense if King James is Wolverine.
King James being Wolverine in general is stupid. I hate that.
I mean, I don't hate the concept of it, but if you've already, I don't hate the concept of it, but if you've already established that Daredevil can make him piss his pants, like, you can't go back and then say, no, it's Wolverine. Cool it.
Yeah, that's a bit.
But
yeah, that doesn't make sense for that's Wolverine at all. That makes no sense to me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Well, I was gonna say, like, the character of Wolverine and the historical person of King James, like that, like they don't match up. I mean, Wolverine was born in like the 1800s in like the 616 continuity, so
Right.
he's even before Captain America. So how does that even make any sense? You know, it's stupid. I don't like it. Just because they both their names are James, was that your fucking connection? You dumbass writers.
Hold on, I'll be right back. I just really, really, really need to go to the toilet. That's all. I'll be right
All
back.
right. But and if and like you were saying, if King James was Wolverine, one, why is he so anti witch breed? And two, why doesn't he just fuck everybody up?
Right.
Why
Well,
do this bullshit?
I have up on
It's
screen
it's just it's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Steve Rogers with Indian war paint with his Captain America insignia on his head.
Yeah, that was dumb too.
That was cringe. Yeah. Like
everything was good until this last goddamn issue.
So,
I
go ahead.
was gonna say this. There's so much more potential for this particular multiverse, and then it's this Captain America stuff is just so dumb. I just really didn't like that at all.
I mean, it could have been done better.
Even I don't know if it could have been done better.
It could have,
you know, like X-Men Noir. X-Men Noir. That's another kind of alternate Marvel universe that I like. I think it's a cool concept to put these characters in that world, but there's none of like this bullshit in there. At least that I've read. I haven't read all of the Marvel Noir comics. There's a lot of them, but the ones I have read don't have this kind of shit in there. It's just, what if these characters existed in the 1930s? What would that be like?
Right.
You know, that's one of the nice things you can do with comic books. You can take all of these different characters and put them in these different time frames, different scenarios, and as long as you plan it out well, you can get really interesting stories out of them. But
this was building up to be a really good
feels
story.
So forced.
And you know, even though the ending didn't necessarily land, it's still
not to spill this beer.
You're drinking so much. I mean, I know that
third one.
Yeah, I know. But every time you crack a beer, I have to take another shot. So.
Oh, all right. I mean, I can turn my mic off. Beer, so you don't have to take a shot if that makes you feel better.
It doesn't. I like taking the shots.
Oh, okay. Then what are you complaining about?
But anyway, actually, I think the screenshot you posted, Novelbro, came out of issue 7. That's pretty much the end. Before Novelbro goes off completely, what were your final thoughts on the overall story? Like, taking away the fact that the ending just didn't stick.
So overall, like I said, I love these alternate universe stories. This Marvel Noir 2099. I find those more compelling than kind of the main line Marvel run. Even some of the Ultimate Universe, I find some of that cool. That's kind of what I grew up reading, though. But if it's done right, with competently planned out, and there could be some behind the scenes stuff we don't know, I'll admit that, because the rest of this is written really well. So there has to be something happened with this last issue. Maybe he had it planned out, but anyway, doesn't matter. Overall, this is good. I like it. Just, if you're going to read it, be prepared for a stupid ending. and being disappointed and wanting to read better versions of this. Well, those are my thoughts.
Okay. Now, Novelbro, I actually just pulled up the screenshot you posted in Discord so that you could. It's back when King James was talking personally with Peter Parker, and he was, or not. This wasn't King James. This was his number one explaining the Bruce, which is an allusion to Bruce Banner, the the soldier that they just kind of shoehorned in to go chasing after Nick Fury in America because King James couldn't be fucked. But the highlighted caption here is, they say when the Bruce was escaping from the English, he destroyed a spider's web. From inside the hole, he watched that spider spin herself another, and he resolved to be like her and to keep fighting forever. The web across the whole mouth saved his life when the English came by. What bothered you about this this particular sequence?
Yeah, well, it would appear that it wasn't Robert the Bruce, but rather William Wallace who saw the spider spin himself another web after he cut it.
Oh.
And that was after he lost the Battle of Falkirk. Wallace's cave is fewer than 10 miles away from where I am sitting right now.
I believe you're actually sitting. I believe you're actually broadcasting from Wallace's cave. That's my headcanon.
It probably would sound like that, yes.
No. I imagine you hold such reverence for the place that, as a Scotsman, you chose to broadcast from William Wallace's cave.
Oh, if only I'd put that much preparation in. Plus, even Bridges, it's a little bit, but it's quite cold up there, up in the Braes. It's a little out of the way. It's like right by the River Avon, which is like not really a river. It's just an overgrown stream that just runs through like Falkirk and such and Stirlingshire, and it just latches onto a couple other rivers, so it gets called a river itself. But
Okay.
somewhere down it, there's the little cave, William Wallace's cave, and that's where he went after losing horribly at the Battle of Falkirk. And it was there where he happened upon the spider. It was a strong spider. He'd actually cut the web because he was actually trying to get through and find himself a wee spot, but there was all sorts of webs getting away, so he just cut that one. But then he saw that the little lady spider was a big spider compared to other spiders he'd seen running around in Scotland.
Right.
They only come in two different sizes here, like small and not that small, but still small.
They come normal in
exactly.
Australia, where you're from.
Well, they probably appear more like they're on steroids in Australia than they do in Scotland, that's for sure. But yeah, if I ever come across any spider like that in real life, I will run for the hills. I will run for the fucking hills.
What about the
in
boner
any
death
case,
spider?
Wallace took some meaning from seeing the spider rebuild and stuff like that. Wallace realized it wasn't a resolve to keep fighting forever. It was the world's way of telling them that life will go on even after he dies. So he eventually gave himself in to be hanged, drawn, and quartered.
Well,
And I hate this. Hung, drawn, and quartered. They fucked up twice with that. That these people aren't tapestries. They were hanging, drawn, and quartered. Not hung. Jesus
right.
Christ, they didn't set it onto a fucking porn set with fucking Johnny Sins. Come on, man.
Now, I will make the defense that the allegory between William Wallace and the Incredible Hulk is there to be made because William Wallace was kind of an unstoppable force in his heyday.
Absolutely.
So
when it came to fighting in the field, he really did make it hard for anybody who sat in front of him.
now I do have a problem with them equating like Bruce Banner in this regard because Bruce Banner as himself, the entire like character arc is that he couldn't fight. He wouldn't fight. He was a scientist, a man of intellect and posterity, and the Hulk was his unkempt rage. William Wallace was just unkempt rage.
Exactly. Jesus Christ.
So
No wonder Mel Gibson was like, yes, yes, I will make a film about that madman William Wallace.
you know what would
Yes,
have been
please.
what
I'll,
was
I'll make him as crazy as possible.
William Wallace was the first one to put a traffic cone on a statue's head,
now.
metaphorically
Let,
speaking.
let me ask you this: what time period did Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde come about?
That would have been the 18th
That was the 20th
century,
century, wasn't it? Or late 19th
Well, I mean,
century?
set in. No, maybe
Oh,
19th,
I
but
believe it would be set in the 17th century, written in the 19th century.
it was set in the 17th century, which would have been the 1600s.
Yeah,
So
it's set in the
it's
17th
actually
century,
area
absolutely.
appropriate, and that would have been a better allegory for like an English doctor who mad scienced his way into becoming a giant behemoth. Would have been a better allegory for the Hulk, and that would have been a way to introduce him into this world.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or just not.
Right.
Or just not,
Maybe just fucking leave
either
it.
that or it's Q Cullen in an earlier timeline.
Well, you could
Q
have
Cullen was the
done
first
so
Hulk.
many things. Instead of having Bruce Banner or quote unquote the Bruce go after Nick Fury in the Americas, you could have had somebody that's an allegory to like Deadshot, or not
Aye.
Deadshot, Bullseye. Excuse me, Bullseye.
I was gonna say.
I was thinking about
Wrong
Will Smith
publisher.
being a cuck because I read an article about that right before we went on.
Wait.
He getting jiggy with it.
Will Smith
Well,
is
Jada
really
was getting jiggy with it. Will wasn't. But
Oh.
yeah, you
That's
didn't know
cold.
about that?
That's cool. No, I did not know about that.
Oh,
God damn.
Did you see
we'll
the
have to talk
pictures of
about
him
that
during
tomorrow.
that interview?
Like a fucking weirdo. His daughters are fucking
Entangled
idiot.
with.
They're fucking other people. You gotta get any luck if you're Will Smith right now. Like, holy fuck, man.
Yeah, your kids are canceling motherfuckers online. Your wife is jumping in to protect them, and then her fucking, open relationship status is coming to head. Like, how are you going to come back from that? You're like the iDubbbz of rap music now, Will Smith.
Yeah, pretty much. You're a whore. You're a whore, Will.
Well, Jada's a whore. Will Smith is a cuck.
True, but I suppose there is a market for that, so he's still sort of whoring
Is,
himself.
is he the first black guy to get cucked?
Will Smith isn't
Yeah,
black.
I think
We
it's
traded
that-
him for OJ a
it's
long
that-
time ago.
Yeah. Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
man.
he can fit in gloves.
Yeah, by the time OJ started robbing motherfuckers for his own shit back, we gave him back and we got Will Smith in the trade.
Yep. Jesus. Jazzy Jess must be fucking set like, well, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? We didn't grow up like this, man. We were slanging dick like it was fucking going out of fashion. Now you're letting fucking other dudes gorilla fuck your girlfriend.
Now, to get back just on topic, what were your final thoughts on 1602 Novelbro? I know this is kind of like your first introduction to a full series comic book type situation.
It has left me very, very intrigued as to what the prequels and spin-offs and all that are going to be like. Because I feel like this is a rabbit hole that we definitely need to explore more. Because for all
We
the
do.
inaccuracies to find, I'm lucky enough to find a couple of accuracies that kind of give me a bit of hope, you know? And I want to see a bit more of that.
Well, I think you'll really enjoy the Fantastic Four story that comes after this, but the rest of it I'm a little weird about. Now, the reason that they put so much like focus on the whole spider narrative is more of an allegory for Peter Parker's future than the Bruce Banner William Wallace connection. Because
Yeah.
Peter Parker becomes Spider-Man.
Yeah, especially with the teasing it for so
Hey,
long.
spoiler
Eventually,
alert.
like, oh, fucking kill the spider. Oh no, you walk away from that spider. Oh, you made a new friend. Let's distract you away from the spider. Every time he goes near the spider, just like pushes him away from it. So I'm guessing 1602 will eventually have him getting bit. Like, yeah, finally I get to turn into a Spidey.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right.
But
That's not too bad. There'll be a few others that'll be that there's one to add to the ones that could potentially be fun to read. But yeah, we'll walk away through it. Even if there is a laborious progress in doing so.
It's not a ton of ancillary stuff. We should be
no.
able to get it through it by the end of the year.
Oh, at the end of the year, motherfucker, we're barely halfway through the year. I've been trying to convince my wife to put the Christmas tree up so that we didn't have to deal with the rest of 2020. I'm ready to just forego the next 6 months and just skip right into 2021.
Yeah, this year's turned out to be a fucking shit show.
But
Well, everywhere
So,
else.
who are you guys voting for, Trump or Kanye?
Kanye, 100%.
Sure.
Novelbro Scottish. He can't vote.
I mean, if he's a Democrat, he can.
Sanctuary City, I suppose. There's like convicts voting there.
Anyway, in final form, after the universe is stored within the chest of the Watcher, you kind of get a flash forward where everything kind of ties up in a nice little loose end. Peter Parker is basically the defender of Virginia Dare at this point, and he's finally bitten by a spider who apparently has powers because it's so close to the Nexus, I guess, maybe, whatever. Like, I'm not sure why he gains powers from the spider.
Yeah, I don't remember that actually being explained in the Spider-Man spinoff of this.
No. But you also see the original Grey Hulk in purple regalia from the
Hell
Bruce
yeah.
transforming, which because he was at the epicenter of the nexus of reality or whatever, he became the Hulk. So that was pretty cool. Like, the end of this book kind of redeems the first 30 pages of it. Because you have a fully fledged
It's really
Thor.
just the Captain America shit.
I don't mind it because you have to have a catalyst. And the Shyamalan twist of a white Indian, like, just makes me happy.
Yes, but they could have had a white Indian by tapping into Mormon mythology and religion.
Look, nobody wants to tap anything Mormon, Ayrton. Just give that up.
Hey, that magic underwear, that stuff is fantastic. It keeps everything nice and in place. It's not like it's not banging into my knees when I'm walking around at work. I dig it.
Look, just wrap it around your waist. It won't bang anywhere.
Well,
Can you not do that? Is that a thing?
Just get long johns. Just get long johns. They'll do the job just as well, man.
I have a long john. Thank you, sir.
You had different names for them over there. Well, terrible pants then.
But anyway, final thoughts from me. I think that this is definitely something that's worth reading. Actually, I meant to get into this at the beginning of the episode, but it took us 19 minutes to start fucking talking about comic books. I've been reading some old stories from like the 70s and 80s, and I actually have dipped into like the Armor Wars from Tony Stark, Iron Man. Back when he was in the red and silver armor that nobody remembers. But I've been reading those. I'm on to Armor Wars 2, which happened fairly quickly after Armor Wars 1. It was a little
that
mini
is
thread.
the progression of numbers. You wouldn't have Armor Wars 3 before Armor Wars 2.
Don't make me come to Detroit or Michigan, wherever the fuck you are.
Ha! I'm not in Detroit, motherfucker.
You will be when I'm done with you. At least part of you will be. You
I
son
really
of a
have to
bitch.
stop drinking that coffee. It's so good though.
No, don't stop drinking
Like
it.
gets me
Death
it gets
Wish
me like
and
fucking wired.
try Black Rifle coffee next time.
I want to get some of that, but this Death Switch, it's legally the strongest coffee you can buy. It's at the limit of the legal amount of caffeine you can like sell.
I'm gonna send you a link. Black Rifle.
I know Black Rifle coffee.
No, they have a
I'm familiar
new
with
type that I got my wife for Christmas this past year. They have a what is it? Sorry, I know this is entertaining as fuck, but no, Black Rifle coffee.
You want me to play some background music?
What was it called? It's called Beyond Black. Like you like your voice.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Oh, and then they have a new coffee called Murdered Out. It is an extra dark roast. Not to be confused with dark. It is an extra dark roast.
That was my nickname in high school.
I bet it was, Jockey. But anyway, Novelbro, final thoughts. Anything else you want to touch on? Anything else you want to call out or speak on?
In the last 3 minutes of the show.
Just Neil Gaiman for just being shit. That's just my only gripe with it. I think the historical inaccuracies. Like Gaiman, if you're listening to this, fight me.
You have to give
chest
him
box
credit,
him,
Novelbro.
Chest box him, Gaiman.
Okay, I just want to say I want to give him credit though for besides the few things with Bruce Banner and the helmets and that shit. Overall, he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, for the first 7 issues, this shit was beautiful.
Accurate. Yeah, I want to give him that credit because you don't see that in fantasy, like historical fantasy writing. Normally, they fuck it all up.
Yep.
Like, don't get me started on that Viking show. It's retarded.
Although I will say on Viking show they did have a good Alfred the Great. I'll say that much.
I've heard that, but everything else is bullshit.
Yep. Exactly. That's pretty much my main thought on Neil Gaiman. He'd be good on the usual stories and everything like that, but with 1602, I feel like if he'd spent more time on it, really nuanced it and made sure everything was all tight and proper and accurate.
I'll actually jump in
man.
I'll actually jump in and defend him here. This is very serious Marvel pandering here, because if they felt something wasn't selling enough by the time it reached its halfway point, they would crunch it into as few issues as they possibly could and clear it. They had a phenomenal Doc Voodoo, where Dr. Voodoo became the Sorcerer Supreme, and it was slotted for 12 issues, and they cut it at 10, just because it wasn't selling enough at the time.
That's criminal. That is absolutely criminal.
Yes. So Marvel is known to kneecap its own writers, just because. I mean,
yeah, that's why I give a little leeway to the last issue. I feel like he wrote this to be a 12-part miniseries, not an 8-part.
Because the whole Hulk thread, I mean, that took place between issue 7 and 8.
Neil Gaiman.
Right. The whole Hulk thread was a 3 or 4 issue story arc in and of itself. Like, you fleshed that character out.
The same with the Thor.
Right.
The same with Thor and Donald.
I mean, Thor was introduced back in issue like 5 or 6, so.
Well, that's why I said Thor and Donald.
Right.
that battle between the two. You could have stretched that out for like
Definitely.
5 or 6 issues.
Especially that big full page spread I thought that was beautiful. I liked that. But it just came out of nowhere,
But
Right.
Yeah, I've had all my thoughts on the matter now. I would recommend it to anybody who's getting into comics and stuff. Definitely, but I would say to any history reviewer and that, just you're not gonna find it most accurate if you're gonna read it, but you will find yourself noticing things that you'll be like, oh, you know what? Maybe that's not too bad. They got this right. Oh, they got that
Yeah.
right. They got this right.
Delta, that Star Wars guy in the chat says,
Stuff like that,
Delta, that Star Wars guy, or no, that Star Trek guy, I guess. TSTG. That's a parody on that Star Wars girl, so I'm assuming that Star Trek guy. But he says, have you seen the new Gaiman Norse Gods thing? Is it any good? And I said, DM me the name of it and we'll let you know on Monday. So that's what we're doing Monday here.
Yes.
Do you know what he's talking about?
I am so down to that. I have no idea what he's talking about. But
something you can't fuck up.
Well, I'll send it to you too, Novelbro.
I just started
Yeah, that. I could be big time hubris there, so I'll have to read it now.
See?
So I just started rereading. I have a big ass book on Norse mythology, and it's actually it has translations and then scholarly commentary and stuff on it. So this is perfect timing, Delta. That's fantastic.
Fair
yes,
enough.
please send us what that is. I'm reading that tomorrow.
It's a new Dark Horse title. I'll look into that after the show. Okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Thank you guys for checking in and reading. Also, thank you very much to our special guest Novelbro for sticking with us through 8 issues and pointing out historical accuracies and inaccuracies. Ayrton, thank you for putting up with me for going on a year now. I think we're 2 months away from our 1-year anniversary.
We're over our 1-year anniversary.
Are we?
I was in Peru this time last year. Yeah.
Were you?
We started doing this shit in April last year.
Holy shit. Fuck you, Corona. Just fuck you. You made us miss our 1-year show. Anyway, Delta.
I was in Peru this time last year.
But we're gonna get off the air now so that Novelbro can make his hair appointment tomorrow, and we will see you guys on Monday. Might be a watch party in the Discord tomorrow, just depending.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. Let's do that.
But I apparently have a message on Discord talking about the new book, so I will talk to you about that off air, Ayrton. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you on Monday. Or if you're in the Discord, we'll probably see you tomorrow. Novelbro, final thoughts? Oh, he's gone. Oh, no, he's not.
He's here.
What was that?
I would just say I have no other thoughts. I was just going to say take it away.
All right, Ayrton, get the fuck out of here, buddy.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh!